Hello, I'm Neil Wallang and welcome to Half in One. Let's talk about climate change. Climate change has been a very controversial topic from the start. Scientists and critics have had different views and standpoints about the cause and origin of these changes, which have led to the debate about global climate change. The controversy is over whether climate change is caused by human activities and their daily emissions, or if climate change is a natural occurrence. First, we must recognize that global warming and climate change are two nuances. Global warming refers to the rise in global temperatures, mainly due to the increasing concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, whereas climate change refers to the increasing changes in the measures of climate over a long period of time, including precipitation, temperature, and wind patterns. It includes global warming and its side effects like melting glaciers, heavy rainstorms, or the more frequent drought. The two sides of the debate consist of the pro side that believes humans are to blame and the opposition who strongly support the view that it's a natural cycle. The evidence of climate change is compelling. It is a big claim attributing these changes to human behavior alone. For decades, these discoveries were not taken seriously in the scientific community. Many experts believed that nature could self-regulate and that the impact of man was minimal. But recent changes in the global climate have called for many scientists to study this phenomenon, to try and understand how human activities contribute to this heating. The pro side of the debate consists of an overwhelming scientific consensus who believes that human activity is most likely the cause of global climate change. Studies show that there is a sharp increase in CO2 levels. This specific CO2 can be directly connected to human emissions, which is also the cause for the rising levels of atmospheric greenhouse gases. The human-produced gases are the main cause for the melting ice caps in the Arctic Circle. Immediate international action is required to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to prevent dire climate changes. The con side argues that human-generated greenhouse gas emissions are too small to substantially change the Earth's climate and that the planet is capable of absorbing those increases. They claim that the 20th century rise in global temperature is within the bounds of natural temperature fluctuations over the past 3,000 years and that human-produced CO2 is reabsorbed by oceans, forests, and other carbon sinks, negating any climate changes. The steady rise of the sea levels is a natural phenomenon and has nothing to do with humans. Deep ocean currents are the actual drivers of climate change, not human activities. The scientists who believe that climate change is a natural cycle has debunked the theory of human-caused global climate change because the analyses are based on questionable measurements, faulty climate models, and misleading science, and is therefore unreliable. With the emergence of youth activism at the forefront talking about climate change, the matter no longer remained an esoteric subject for scientists, policymakers, and academics, but rather something of larger public interest. Our understanding of the issue of global warming and climate change is largely shaped by the topics we were taught in elementary science, and for most of us, our understanding is set to this limitation. Thus, the onset of the second green wave with the rise of young people raising the issue of climate change as an existential threat for their future reignited people's interests which would have been forgotten past rudimentary science at school. However, at the same time, a counter stance to the nature of climate change as an existential issue also emerged. This can be understood as the scientific consensus on the estimates of global warming is not uniform. Consequently, uncertainty arises from conflicts or apparent disagreements among scientists. Thus, the appearance of disagreement amongst the scientific community undermines people's perception of the underlying science, even if the issue is considered consensual within the scientific community. For those on the side which vociferously advocate for policies to address climate change as an issue for their future existence, the evidence is largely based on empirical data in the form of irregular and erratic weather patterns such as cyclones, hurricanes, and also drought, as well as computer-generated projections which they attribute as paradigms of a larger phenomenon. Correspondingly, for those on the contrary, hurricanes and floods are simply natural occurrences which have prevailed since time immemorial. Attributing these occurrences as paradigms of a larger phenomenon would be seen as an abstract bet rather than a reliance on the known. This assumption, however, is not unique only to those uncertain about climate change, but is known as ambiguity aversion, where an individual would rather choose an alternative where the distribution of the outcome is known over one where the probabilities are unknown. The debate on climate change has also become increasingly polarized along political lines, which has negated global warming as a bipartisan concern. The right, for example, has accused the left of meandering away from the core concern of global warming to push the cause of eco-socialism. Similarly, those on the left have accused the right of downplaying the issues of global warming as a mere phenomenon of greenhouse effect at a larger scale. The politics, therefore, presents the debate of the dichotomies as a zero-sum game, wherein people are forced to probe into it as either a matter of acceptance or denial. Massive steps should be taken to prevent a colossal global degradation due to climate change. If taken too lightly, the ability to prevent it will be beyond us. It is time to stop being mealy-mouthed and give silent passes to those peddling climate change denialism, either explicitly or implicitly, by demanding we listen to both sides.